there is delegated power, there is generated power, and there is entrusted power. Each of them holds specific expression. You can't substitute one for the other. I'm going to share this with you so you will understand how intimacy works. Because many people don't understand the levels and the dimensions of intimacy. So sometimes they are in God's presence, but because when they taught them about walking with God, they didn't teach them what God's presence was and what intimacy meant. They only taught them a religious activity. So because they are not doing that activity part-time, they kill themselves with guilt and think that God is far away from them. So most people you see today, they fall into spiritual lethargy and they even lose their walk with God because the person who taught them about walking with God taught them one activity. He didn't teach them the protocol of walking with God. He didn't teach them all the dimensions of intimacy. And so anytime they don't do that one that they are taught, guilt will kill them. And they will now carry the burden of guilt and they will actually lose their relationship with God. So it's important for us to know the holistic dimensions of intimacy so that we can know what to exercise part-time. I was teaching them about power in Cameroon, and I showed them 3 dimensions of power, and each dimension represents specific things. I told them there are certain powers you will never walk in until you have revelation. If you like, fast for 1 year or 10 years, you will never walk in it. For example, exousia is a positional power. You can only walk in exousia if you have the revelation of the finished works of Christ and who you now are in Christ. This is why many people can't cast out devils. They are fasting machines, but they can't cast out devils. They do a lot of alms giving, but they can't cast out devils because they don't know the authority in Christ. They don't know the finished works of Christ, and they don't know who they are in Christ. So every time they come, before they talk, the devil will put a little accusation in their heart. You that didn't pray 3 days ago, you are the one coming here. The person will now feel small and say, I will be back. I will be back. These demons are wise. Very wise. But if you understand who you are in Christ, you can wake up and cast out demons. You can be in the market and cast out demons. This is why in Luke 10:19 and Matthew chapter 10 from verse 1, when Jesus sent them out, they returned to him celebrating that demons were subject to them. When Jesus turned to pray, you know what Jesus said? He said, I thank you, O Father, that you have hid these things from the wise and the prudent, and you have shown it to babes. So the people who came back casting out demons, they were babes. But they knew what Jesus gave them, so they went in that consciousness, and demons were subject to them. Now, some people confuse exousia for iskus. Iskus is also a dimension of authority. But iskus functions to the degree that you are obedient to authority. So if you are not obedient to authority, you can't walk in authority. That's iskus operation. And that one has to do with not demons now, but princes and territorial issues. Because anything that has to do with a prince and a territorial issue, there are laws of the spirit that governs it. These are legalistic beings. They don't do things anyhow. If a prince wants to affect your life, he will make sure you violate something, so that he will stand on the premise of your violation and be bringing accusation before he takes action. It's only a demon that will see space and jump in. And the way he jumps in, he can jump out. But not a prince. A prince is not looking for a body to possess. He's looking for a territory to exercise governance. So he will first of all look for a law to be broken so that he can write his own law. Now, if you come to address a prince, you will need to be under authority to be able to exercise authority there. Now, if you don't know the difference, the moment they say authority, you will feel that unless you have stature, you can't wield authority. So many people, today they have manifestation, tomorrow they don't have manifestation, and they don't know why. Because they don't understand the difference between delegated authority and generated authority. Are you seeing? Now, if you... Okay, I'm saying that somebody is interested. Go and get the message. Hear it. We are not teaching power today. When I was teaching them on entrusted authority, I told them revelational power gives you authority over demons. Generated power, like dunamis, gives you authority to change circumstances. So, for example, I can know all the revelation of the finished works of Christ. But if I don't pray in tongues and pray in tongues consistently, there are addictions in people's life I can't break. There are issues, circumstantial issues that people are going through that I can't break because those things will require energy. He said God is able to do exceeding abundantly above all you ask or think according to the dunamis at work in you. So if I can't generate that power, I cannot change certain things that require energy in the spirit. So why I have revelation of Jesus, it should not affect my prayer altar. It should not affect my fasting. If it does, I will walk in exousia, but I will not walk in dunamis. And then there is another power called entrusted power, like alke. Alke is not to cast out devils. Alke is called influence. Influence. Most times when you read the New Testament, you see words like governor. It's alke, it's influence. So a man may not be doing miracles, but if he comes to your city, it's the president that will welcome him. And anything he begins to do will be global. Meanwhile, you who is raising the dead, you will go to Gwagwalada, it's 10 people that will come there. And you are wondering why. The dead are coming back to life. They will say, yes, we trust God. Glory to Jesus. Well done. But another person, they just say he's coming. The whole road is jammed. The government comes there to pay courtesy visit. They say the guy came for crusade. Governor came for crusade that night. Because of influence. Influence. No miracle is happening, but influence. Because that one runs on virtue. Like humility, like purity, like patience, like kindness. If you don't have virtue, because that one, God will entrust it and say, now, I know you can bring my government to a nation. So he will put something on your life. People will not know the gift you have, but if they call your name, they will tremble. It's called entrusted power. If you don't understand how power works, you may run your whole ministry on dunamis. All your ministry on generated power. So any meeting you are going to, hello, Shaba, Hiba. When you are now 35, you look like 80. The ministry that should have lasted for 40 years will end at 12 or for 15 years because you are exhausted. That's why most African preachers in the 60s and 70s died early. They knew only generated power. So they are on the mountain 40 days. After 2 months, they go back another 40 days. Now, that is good. Don't get me wrong. But if you do that for 30 years, you will die. A point will come, your muscles, they will die. So while you are doing that, you should also balance with revelation. So that a service that you were not able to pray in tongues for 10 hours, God can still move. And then you can also have some time to go on holiday with your family. And still come back and cast out demons.